The gentleman from Florida, Mr. Posey, is recognized for his question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Greenblatt, I have a half dozen questions, so I'd appreciate it if you could answer them as quickly as possible so I can get them all in. The testimony today here is almost bizarre. It's almost incomprehensible. I know most people back home hopefully would find it hard to believe that things could be as corrupt as they appear to be. But just to set the record straight in my mind, what was the date that Mr. Haran officially retired from the National Weather Service?
May 2nd, 2010.
Okay. What date did Mr. Haran start as a consultant for the National Weather Service?
May 3rd, 2010.
Under a contract that he essentially drew himself?
Yes, he revised and edited a statement of work that for his own position, yes.
So while he was with the National Weather Service, he made a contract to become a consultant and come back on the date you said?
Correct.
Okay. What was Mr. Haran's compensation during the last month of his service as Deputy Chief Financial Officer of the National Weather Service?
He was paid, this is rough, is $72 an hour.
Okay. What was Mr. Haran's compensation for the first month of his role as a consultant under the contract that he drew up himself for the National Weather Service?
$105 an hour.
Okay. So Mr. Haran retired from the National Weather Service one day and walked back in the very next day as a consultant, making $3,000 more per month, with his housing being paid for, with essentially no change in his day-to-day responsibilities.
I think it's generally a fair assessment, yes. I can go into more detail if you'd like.
Okay, no, that's good. And the taxpayers essentially took a $457,000 hit for that bad behavior, which you have clearly documented, and you've cited the laws that were broken under the conflict of interest laws, and you took this information to the Department of Justice, and the Department of Justice refused to prosecute?
It declined to pursue the matter, yes.
Did they give any reason why they declined to prosecute?
You'll have to ask them about the exact final decision as to why, but from my understanding, I think the involvement of the supervisor was a factor in their decision, and the fact that the issue had happened a couple of years earlier.
And how many employees at the National Weather Service would have their fingerprints on this? If I went back through all the gatekeepers that didn't do their job, all the checks and balances that are supposed to be in place to stop this kind of corruption, how many people had fingerprints on this if I was to go back and have everyone looked at?
Sitting here right now, I would say the number is probably in the 5 or 6 range.
Okay.
It was not extensive. It was not 20 or 30 people involved. I think it was probably about 5 or 6. And
the whistleblowers have indicated that this is customary behavior?
Well, the witnesses that we met with told us in our sworn interviews that folks retiring and then coming back to the Weather Service was commonplace or words of that variety.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for bringing this to our attention. For too many years, this kind of behavior has been swept underneath the rug. And Mr. Greenblatt, I want to thank you for your honor and the way that you have represented the taxpayers back home, for your forthrightness, and I hope there's many more people like you out there. I'm a little bit chagrined that some people are more interested in making sure the two culprits were not embarrassed in this committee. Of course, we heard the same kind of comments about Lois Lerner, how unfair it was to embarrass Lois Lerner, who clearly was corrupt as the day is long, targeting political enemies. That's just not the kind of administration that the people in this country expect. And whatever it is that motivates you to do the job that you're doing, I just hope and pray for the future of our country and for future generations that there's more out there like you. God bless you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.